just committed to this in-your-face, stank it up kind of. Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we are going to do a full day wear test, and I'll give you a thorough review of Physicians Formula's newest foundation. This is the Butter Believe It Foundation and Concealer. I know a lot of people are excited about this. It says it's for all skin types, so I'm going to show you how it applies. I'm going to apply it in different ways for you. I'm going to show you what the finish looks like. We're going to check in throughout the day to see how it wears, or how well it wears. And then at the very end of the day, I'll give you final thoughts, positives, negatives, and an overall judgment of whether it's really worth your money. And as always, I look at the ingredients and give you any skincare thoughts that I have on the formula. Thank you so much for subscribing. You can also follow over on Instagram to be eligible for monthly giveaways. We did just post January 2021's big giveaway or monthly giveaway video, so make sure you go check that out, watch it, so you can see how to be eligible to win. First of all, this incredible and stunning new eyeshadow palette from Nomad Cosmetics. Oof, so pretty. And a bunch of other skincare and makeup items. Go check that video out and enter. Before we dive further into the foundation, quickly, I'm going to tell you what else I'm wearing because many of you ask. For my face, I'm actually wearing two other new products by Physicians Formula. I'll do full reviews on these, so make sure you stay tuned, the mascara and the matte bronzer. For my eyes, I am using one of the eyeshadow sticks as the base from e.l.f.'s brand new Mint Melt collection. That video also recently went up where I swatch all of these for you and give you a first impressions review. The shade I'm wearing is Ice Cream on the lids, and then this matte shade in the crease and the darker one to kind of define the outer V. It's a lighter makeup day because I want to concentrate on other parts of the makeup, but this is the Chocolate Mint mini eyeshadow palette. And then for my highlighter and my lips, I am again wearing a couple of items from the indie brand, and they concentrate on more natural ingredients. Inner Beauty, I featured them in the January 2021 What's New in Beauty video, but again, I am wearing the cream highlighter. This is the Cocoa Bomb Illuminating Cream, the top of my cheeks in Aura. And I love this lip product. It's a more sheer, very balm feeling kind of lipstick. It's called the Lip Tint, and the shade that I have this in is Guava. This sweater is from Amazon, and I actually did a video giving you my top great, affordable, high quality finds from Amazon when it comes to warmer clothing. I'll link that in the upper right hand corner if you want to see some other great pics. My necklace is also from Amazon. It comes in a set with this bracelet also. Super affordable, very good quality. My ring I can't link you, but my cherry drop earrings that I love so much are actually from Etsy. So all of those things I will list in the description box so you can find them if you want to go check them out. This sweater comes in a bunch of different colors and styles, so you don't necessarily need to choose this kind of rustier warm brown if you don't prefer this shade. All right, let's move on to reviewing the product. I'm going to give you some details on it first. This will, of course, retail at different prices depending on where you purchase them. You can find Physicians Formula at places like Ulta, Target, Rite Aid, your local drugstore, anywhere that sells Physicians Formula. The price is going to range between about $12 up to $15. I have always found that Ulta is the most expensive, or at least one of the most expensive retailers for drugstore products. So I tend to try to find my drugstore level products at other places. I'm not a huge fan of Ulta, just saying. So I will always put in the description box for you the most affordable pricing that I can find online for you to purchase. And of course, any discounts or coupons that I may have available for you, I always include those too. For that price, you are getting 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters of product. This comes in a clear glass bottle, which is really nice. It has a pump dispenser in a beautiful mint color. Hey, very similar to e.l.f.'s new mint collection, I just noticed, but I really like the packaging on this. The shade that I purchased, thankfully, is actually a shade that works with my skin, NC20, NC25. It is in the shade Light. There are only 12 shades of this foundation. This is the third darkest shade in the line out of 12. So like with many not even drugstore companies, just companies in general, even though it's 2021, we still have a lack of a huge variety in terms of shades, and then a lack of deeper shades. Although I will say, just looking at the swatches, they do seem to offer at least two truly deeper shades. That's just what it seems like from the swatches. So when it comes to the shade range in this one, I don't necessarily think that there is a huge disparity between the light shades and the deep shades. There just isn't a lot of shades in the line, and so it may be a little more difficult to find your exact shade match, even though there may be a shade or two in your shade range. Does that make sense? Let's look at what they claim this foundation will do for you, and we're going to keep those in mind when we are testing it out. So Physicians Formula says, indulge in this extra luxurious foundation plus concealer infused with a powerful blend of murumuru butter, kupuasu butter, and tumuka butter from the lush, nutrient-rich Amazon. Incredibly creamy texture melts onto skin, leaving a natural, radiant glow, while our long-wearing, weightless formula provides buildable coverage. All right, so they don't use that many sentences to describe this product. Some product descriptions are just paragraphs long, but I will notice that they cover a lot of ground with what they're saying. They're saying it's really nourishing, it's got a buttery formula, it's nutrient rich, it's supposed to be buildable coverage, so presumably lighter to heavier coverage you can get, creamy texture. So they've got a lot of things going, so we'll see if the claims hold up. They say this is oil-free, although there's a lot of butters included in here. It is also paraben-free. I mean, I don't have a problem with parabens, and many times parabens are good for preserving products, but people have their staunch opinions on that, but this is also vegan, which I know is important to a lot of people. Now, before we apply, let's look at the ingredients, because you should always be concerned about what you're slapping onto your skin. And in addition to a lot of traditional things you would find in liquid foundations, we do have the presence of a large amount of fragrance. The fragrance and perfume shows up, it looks like well before halfway down the ingredients list. And many of you won't be surprised, because Physicians Formula is notorious for putting fragrance, and quite strong fragrance, in most of their products. We do see some fruit extracts and plant extracts that seem to be good for the skin, in addition to, of course, all those butters that they listed. And fortunately, I don't see any other problematic ingredients that really jump out to me, things like any drying alcohols. So sensitive-nosed people, or people who do not enjoy perfume being added to their skincare or makeup, beware. This product has plenty of it. Okay, let's jump back in time and start applying this foundation. I have my skincare, which includes my moisturizer and my sunscreen on. I don't have any sort of primer on. We're gonna start on the right side of my face with your left side of the screen by applying this with a synthetic, very soft brush. This one is by Marc Jacobs, although I don't know the exact number on it. Make sure to shake it up beforehand. I'm going to do less than a full pump. Finally, a decent color match. Many of you have been with me for my trials and tribulations when it comes to matching more affordable foundations with my skin color. I can immediately smell the coconut scent on this, which I'm not really a big fan of, slathering a bunch of perfume all over my face. But I guess that's to be expected with pretty much most of Physicians Formula's products, unfortunately. This goes on really nicely with this kind of application, I will say. I'm immediately noticing how kind of smoothly it's applying on the skin. So here's what the foundation looks like up close. This is actually a fantastic color match for my skin color. I am very slightly tanned right now compared to my stark winter skin. But in particular, with the past, 3 or 4 drugstore foundation reviews that I've done, I've had especially texture issues in this mouth area and around the nose, and sometimes at the top of the forehead, but I am not having those issues with this foundation. So I am impressed with how smoothly it has gone on. Just to see if there's any noticeable difference, let's go ahead and do my left side, your right side with a sponge. Sometimes I'll dampen the sponge, but with this texture, I don't really feel the need to, at least initially. Again, it's going on really nice and smooth. I'll say that, it's hard to describe, but it has a kind of texture where it doesn't necessarily feel or seem as completely weightless as some other foundations, but not in a bad way. I don't really know how to explain it. Yeah, it doesn't feel heavy on the skin, certainly. It's got good coverage to it too. Very nice coverage. Okay, so here's the sponge side. Again, very smooth on the skin. Looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There is texture in the folds of my nose. Can you see that? There, even on this side too with the brush, but a lot less than I've seen with pretty much every other drugstore foundation review I've done in the past couple months. This has a beautifully skin-like finish to it. It doesn't add any glow, but it also doesn't really mattify my face either. I naturally have oily combination skin and plenty of my own shine that I produce. Yeah, I think it looks beautiful on the skin. Good coverage without looking mask-like. It looks very seamless and one with my skin. If you look up close, you see those small patches of texture and imperfections. But besides that, this looks really, really beautiful. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup and I'll come back and show you what it looks like after powder products have been applied, setting powder, etc. Actually, you know what? Because it says this is a foundation plus concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and see how well that holds up in terms of that claim. I'm gonna use this for my under eyes, and in part because there is so much touting of that Muru butter, I'm hoping that this works well in terms of the otherwise kind of tricky, problematic, dry looking area under my eyes. Let's zoom you back in a little bit more closely. Okay, so that's kind of one go pass by in terms of layering. Here's addition of a little more product. Yeah, I think it works at least quite decently under the eyes. It doesn't look too dry. It's really nice if you can find a foundation that doubles as the concealer. It saves you time, saves you space. You can just 2-in-1 it. So here's the foundation concealer applied under the eye, and this one does not have it applied under the eye. For a little more coverage, I'm gonna go back in. You see this inner corner where there's that slightly darker streak. I'm gonna try to layer this. And in fact, let's go ahead and, it already covered pretty well, but I'm gonna go in with some spot coverage in places where I have some pigmentation from blemishes and such. All right, there's the up close look at the finish underneath the eyes. I think it works really nicely. All right, so that's what the foundation looks like after I've powdered and applied the rest of my face. I'm going to show you some things up close. I feel like, so I set with the Dermablend setting powder. This is a completely translucent loose powder, and it's like it has the least character to any of the setting powders that I have. So I was a little bit surprised when I felt like in applying this, it actually took away from a little bit of the smoothness of the foundation. So unfortunately, I'm not sure if this foundation is going to play nicely with all of the setting powders that you may have out there. So just keep that in mind. It's nothing super noticeable in terms of, you know, looking super cakey, but I did notice that I felt like, as I'm applying this powder, something that I've never experienced before with this powder, the ever so slightest notice of less smoothness in some areas. So I'll just show you up close. You may not be able to tell, which is a good thing, but it is possible when you have a formula like this that has a lot more butter in it, that it can cling on to things like powder more than a less nourishing foundation formula might. So I think that's a little bit of what I'm seeing. Don't know if you can see, but see right here around the orbital bone, that's kind of where the top of the cheek meets where I dabbed on the foundation as a concealer from the under eyes. There's a bit of streaky, not streaky, kind of patchy texture there. Again, not something you could probably pick up at all at a normal distance, even in non-COVID times, but just want to point out those small things to you. But overall, it maintains that beautiful natural finish to there where the natural glow is coming through. No active mattifying effect that I can see, but then no addition of shimmer or anything like that. We will be testing out the Physicians Formula Matte Monoi Butter Bronzer in an upcoming video and the new mascara that is being released, all of these things at once. So make sure you go stay tuned for those to see if these are worth your money or time. I'm gonna show you what this looks like in natural light, and then we will go from there. This is what the foundation looks like in natural lighting. So no artificial light. You can see my natural shine coming through, but it doesn't look super added in terms of glowiness. I really like the way that this foundation looks. And here is what it looks like up close. All right, I'll check in with you in a few hours. All right, we are checking in. I'm already in my nightrobe, even though it's not that late. It gets dark so early that I just kind of start winding down in the middle of the day. But this is about 4 hours or so after initial application. It's holding up well. I'm kind of surprised at how little shine development there's been. It's definitely more shiny than upon first application, but given how many butter type ingredients are in here, I was afraid that it may look super greasy really quickly, and that hasn't necessarily happened. I will say that I feel like it does look less smooth than upon initial application and before setting with translucent powder. So maybe it's something that you might want to consider not setting at all, but that's gonna depend on your personal skin type and circumstance and all that kind of stuff. So here's a close-up look. I don't know if you can tell, I do feel like it's more texturized with these pores around the nose area. You might even be able to see around the mouth area because I have eaten a meal here, so that area has been moving. Of course, once again, these are details that you would really only tell if you were up close in front of someone's face, but they are things that when I am purposely looking for the review purpose, I do notice those things. So I will wait another few hours and check back in with you at the very end of the day. You know that shine that I told you I was expecting more of? It has definitely arrived by the end of the day. It's been, I forget exactly what time it is. It's been 8+ hours at this point, and I look pretty shiny. That's just how my skin is. So I do feel like, you know, at the 3 or 4 hour mark, it was holding up better than I thought it would in terms of not looking like straight shine the way I look right now. But you know, after like the 5 hour-ish mark, 6 hour-ish mark, it starts looking like this. So if you have oily skin like I do, or combination skin like I do, then you will want to be blotting or applying more powder to get rid of the shine. But in terms of the texture and the finish, it's broken down since I first applied it, and also further since my last check-in. So the pores around here, this area, are much more noticeable. Not much more noticeable, that's wrong. They're slightly more noticeable, particularly when, like me, you're actively looking for changes that are happening. This level of pore visibility was not there on initial application. and was a little more visible at the last check-in and is more noticeable now at this point too. And then same around the mouth, just kind of more splotchiness that is more noticeable. I have super fine lines along the brow area, so you may not be able to see. The foundation has settled the ever so slightest in those lines, but once again, I don't think really anyone is going to be able to notice those particular changes. So here are my overall thoughts, the good, the bad, and maybe what you should consider before you purchase this. In terms of the good, I like the nourishing ingredients. So the word I was looking for when I was first applying, when I was telling you, well, it seems maybe thicker or having more body to it than the other foundations I've been testing, the word that I was looking for is the word that they used to describe, which is creamy. It has more of a creamy texture to it. So it does have more body to it, but it doesn't feel like it's weighing down and just sitting on your skin. So there are really nice, buttery ingredients in there that will help to nourish the skin on initial application. And honestly, even to the end of the day, I do really like the finish. I don't like as much now the way it sits on the skin. I wouldn't at this point be able to describe and use the same words that I did after my initial application thoughts, which is that it looks completely skin-like and seamless, and it looks one with the skin. At this point, it does not quite look one with the skin, but I would isolate that to kind of this pore area, maybe around the mouth area. Those are the areas where I can no longer really say that it looks seamless on my skin. But I will say that this gives you good coverage while not contributing to looking like a foundation. So in that sense, you're getting the benefits of a smoother canvas, but without someone thinking, oh yeah, she's got a smooth canvas because she's got paint on her face. I found the application to be quite quick, and part of that was the way it naturally sunk in with the skin, unlike some other recent foundations that I've reviewed on this channel where I find myself spending a lot more time buffing and smoothing because I'm trying to get a smoother finish and not really being able to accomplish that. With this foundation, it was very quick to apply, very quick to smooth out and blend out. One of my favorite things about this foundation is the dual use of it as a concealer. So I didn't put on any concealer. I just used the same product in the same bottle to cover the under eye area and to dab on the other areas of the face to add coverage. Now, is it complete full coverage? No. So if you have darker under eye areas than I do, or if you have things with pigmentation under your eyes, you're still gonna need a corrector and you may want some more heavy coverage underneath there. But I would be perfectly happy with the level of coverage I got. And I really love the fact that you can use this all over the face as a foundation, and it works in the notoriously dry, patchy looking crepey areas, at least if you're older, underneath the eyes. It's settled in really nicely in my under eye area. Actually, let me give you a close-up look there. So that's a huge benefit to the double use of this particular product. To the negatives, in addition to it not looking seamless anymore by the end of the day, or even frankly at the 4-hour mark, and maybe perhaps not being full coverage for the under eye area. Besides those negatives, the huge negative is the fragrance. At the very least, Physicians Formula should offer a non-fragranced version of these products. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that they can insist on, it's not just that there's so many companies where they add fragrance as the last ingredient. Like, it's just there to give a little hint of a scent. But Physicians Formula is just committed to this in-your-face, stank it up kind of formula. And the insistence on just overwhelming the senses with the perfume. It's perfume that they put into the fragrance. Not only is it annoying for a lot of people, I mean, of course, if you're someone who loves the scent and you want to bathe your whole body in it, then yeah, it's not going to bother you and it's going to attract you to the product. But the other portion of the population that either really is turned off by the smell because their personal preference, they don't like it, or they just have sensitive noses and they can't handle that level of in-your-face fragrance, even if they otherwise would enjoy a lighter version of the scent. And in addition, the fact that fragrance puts your skin at risk for irritation, it's never a positive thing for your skin on a skincare level. So that's why I almost always on a leave-on product say just ditch it if it has fragrance in it, especially if it has so much fragrance in it like this product does. So at the end of the day, I'm very conflicted, because if this did not have that perfume in there, maybe even if it had the perfume, but it was at least the last ingredient or one of the very last ingredients, then I would say, yeah, I can maybe overlook it and recommend this foundation. But despite all the things I really like about the formula, I can't at the end of the day say, yeah, this is fantastic, great, seal of approval, because I just can't get behind the fragrance that they've added. So that's unfortunate, but those are my honest thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, if you've actually tried out this foundation, what your experience has been, any other thoughts that you have. As always, I appreciate you so much watching these videos. If this was helpful to you, if you enjoyed it, whatever, if you could please give it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that too. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.